Lately, my Instagram algorithm has been this.
祝您和家人。
Overnight, it seems that every Gen Zer has entered a very Chinese part of their life, smoking Chunghwa cigarettes and getting pissed drunk with Chinese uncles in the middle of Yunnan province. For many people of my generation, China has become a new, cool and hip place, even though just a couple of years ago it was vilified as one of the biggest evils in the world, terrorizing protesters, genociding Muslims, and watching its citizens every move. So what changed? And why does Gen Z love China so much? For a lot of people, Israel's conduct during this conflict has been absolutely despicable. Over 75,000 people were killed, 90% of whom are believed to be civilians. Schools and hospitals blasted to smithereens, and between 85 to 95% of all buildings in the strip destroyed. Most Gen Zers watched this unfold live, all the while many Israelis online were cheering for the destruction of Palestine. As a result, Gen Z has become the most anti-Israel generation in human history. But unlike them, most Western governments have continued to support the country, as it absolutely pummeled Gaza. As a result, my generation has become overly critical of the West. For years, both the United States and Europe have propagated how they're for peace, stability, democracy, human rights, and blah 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 blah. Invading countries all across the globe just to stop genocide. But when Israel was conducting one, not a single sanction was put against them. For years prior to this, China was painted in the West as this authoritarian boogeyman that was going to invade Taiwan any second now. Just look at all these YouTube videos about it, and what do we get? A fucking nothing burger, because nothing ever happens. Can you believe it, guys? A war with Taiwan is just a week away. Wow, just a week away. And then we get the war with Gaza again. Fuck me. So when America continued supporting Israel, despite its attacks on civilians, many started questioning this narrative. Despite being a superpower, China hasn't really intervened in any foreign wars. Instead, they've been developing their country and projecting this image of also developing other less fortunate nations. They're instead more willing to trade abstract political freedoms for administrative competence, so long as the people in charge do their job.
Wishful thinking!
Which makes a lot of sense, considering lately Western administrations seem to be completely out of touch with regular folks. I mean, just look at the Epstein files. Virtually every Western political leader and politicians seems to be implicated in some way, shape, or form. But there's been no convictions or arrests whatsoever. And how many of those name dropped in the files are still holding office? Distrust in the government is at an all-time high in the West, with their country's leaders being potential PDF files and starting new unwanted wars every couple of months. So China as an alternative becomes very attractive, as it projects itself as a side that offers desperately needed stability. And seeing the country exude this stability, with everything that's occurred in the US and Europe in the past couple of decades, made the younger generation question the mainstream stance on China. I mean, sure, China is a superpower, and like any, it acts in its own best interest, expanding its sphere of influence as far as possible, which it's arguably done so in quite predatory ways, via debt-trapping nations in its Belt and Road Initiative, as well as its neo-colonial efforts in Africa. But in the eyes of many Gen Zers, this method is far more beneficial and more ethical to everyone than the current world policing done by the United States. Gen Zers even prefer shopping from Temu than traditional brands like H&M and Zara. To them, it's the same quality, same unethical practices, but much more affordable. And considering Gen Z is the poorest generation in modern history, living in an ever more expensive world, this gives China a lot of leverage On the other hand, a lot more eccentric fashion heads have also taken the China pill. For decades, higher-end brands like Prada and Burberry have ditched their classy European artisan heritage, opting instead to outsource their production to regular Chinese warehouses. And China has taken note of this, leveraging the West's historic dependence on them, while also promoting their demands as luxury Chinese goods, taking back what's theirs. By cutting out the Western middleman, China isn't just selling products anymore. They are successfully reclaiming the value of their own labor, and teaching the new generation that the East is no longer a factory, but the headquarters. Crucially, China understands how to use social media to project soft power and leave a strong cultural impression. And TikTok might be the most effective soft power weapon in their arsenal. It starts off simple, with Chinese social credit and Bing chilling memes, to interactive trends like China maxing and you met me in a very Chinese part of my life, to shorts dedicated to the superior Chinese lifestyle and innovations, or health and beauty remedies. I mean, there's a fuck ton of China content.
I'm telling you, the Little John galvanized square steel videos have done more for China's culture war victory in 1 year than rock and roll has ever done for America.
Just like Hollywood movies were used to project American soft power, TikTok is just as valuable for China's goals of controlling the narrative. There are also subtle differences in algorithms between the East and the West. Chinese TikTok, called Douyin and also owned by
字节跳动
goes through a content filter made by the CCP, resulting in more videos about progress and harmony, and severely limiting any criticism made towards the system. On the other side, Western TikTok is more open and varied, but less regulated and more polarizing. It's still unclear whether this is by nature of free speech, or if the algorithm is tinkered to lean more into outrage and controversies. By sheer comparison, Chinese society is better perceived abroad as a result. China has also gotten another nice PR boost through other media avenues, like video games, movies, cartoons, and anime. And this is pretty much an open secret. You know, like a couple of months ago, I had a Chinese agency reach out to me, offering to fly me out to film China's progress and technological advancements and make a couple of vlogs out of it. Which just shows how effective modern media is at shaping Gen Z's perception of the country. Chinese Gen Z might have something to say to that as well. They're dealing pretty much with the same problems as we are in the West. Soaring unemployment rates, soaring real estate prices, wealth inequality, and general distrust in the future of their country. All manifested in a movement called Tangping, a rejection of societal standards of overworking yourself to death. Sounds familiar? It should. Ultimately, I guess the grass is always greener on the side with neon lights. Like how Western urbanists praise Japan's car-free cities, while Japanese urbanists love the American grid-like suburbia. Ultimately, this isn't about whether or not China is objectively better. It's about who decides what better looks like. It's all a game of perception, optics, and really confidence. Or in one word, aura. And Gen Z seems to believe that China is aura farming. Progress smogging and no diffing everyone. But let me know what you think. Is China really as technologically advanced as they lead us on to believe? Or is it all just a paper tiger?
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，选择原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌。它添加有羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。